All right. So the problem is funding. So we
Mhm.
need funding to fund pediatric cancers. There's not enough government funding to help prevent pediatric cancers and to find cures and to find better treatments and so on and so forth. So early on, when I was sitting in front of a doctor when Brooke was first diagnosed, I said, he said that you basically, your daughter has the same disease that Neil Armstrong's daughter had in 1962. And the treatment in 1962 is the same as it is now in 2013. And I was like, well, how could that be? How could there be no medical advancement whatsoever over that duration of time? And in so many words, he said, basically, not enough kids are dying. And my response was, well, my one kid is too many.
Mhm.
And he said, until parents like you get involved and make a change, there isn't going to be a change. So he had hinted to the fact that, we need to develop our own individual foundation and we need to fundraise and we need to make a difference and fund these doctors and researchers who are trying to find answers but have limited resources to do so.
Okay.
So, I got involved with the DIPG DMG Collaborative, which is a collection of individual foundations, just like the Brooke Healey Foundation.
Mhm.
And there's roughly about 30 of us involved in that DIPG Collaborative. And one of the organizations, The Cure Starts Now, has about 60 chapters throughout the United States, Canada, and Australia. So together, we're 80 families pooling our money together and funding necessary research at the advice of our medical advisory council. So a big part of it is trying to gain the funding, but there's only so much individual foundations can raise on their own. We are raising a couple $1 million a year collectively, and we are making a difference, and we are doing a lot with research, and a lot of our research has made some headway recently with extending the lives of some of these DIPG patients. But the awareness piece is, I never heard of DIPG until Brooke was diagnosed. And I'm sure many other people have no idea what DIPG is. And so educating people that there is a lack of funds and that, pediatric cancer is something that can be more survivable than it is and can be curable. And certain pediatric cancers should be doing better than they are right now. And just educating people that in the September awareness piece is extremely important. So Alyssa Rust is actually one of our board members who is in charge of the September Awareness Committee.
Okay.
And what they have done, so what they have done is they have a pizza box campaign. So it started off with 4 or 5 pizzerias. Now there's a couple of dozen pizzerias that every single pizza box that leaves the store in the month of September has a sticker on it that says Pediatric Cancer Month, in the Brooke Healey Foundation and our website and QR code and stuff like that.
And is that in our
she
area?
has reached out to, excuse me?
Is that in our area or across the state?
Oh, yeah.
5.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, we have places, it's kind of spirals out from the New Providence area, which is, obviously our home base.
Right.
But, there's Summit, Madison, Chatham, there's, the reach goes on pretty far as far as, us expanding our niche out of New Providence and, throughout the state.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing. The other thing is the youth sports, football teams wearing a yellow sticker on their helmet, wearing yellow shoelaces during the month of September, high school sports teams, et cetera, just spreading that awareness, the gold ribbon, September's Pediatric Cancer Month. We're basically mimicking the campaign that the breast cancer awareness did with Pink in October.
Okay.
And they were immensely successful in making a difference in breast cancer and their campaign. And I mean, this is a question I used to ask at each of our functions. I would say, how many people know what month is breast cancer awareness? And the whole crowd would shout October, and what color is associated with breast cancer awareness? And I'd say pink. And I'd say, you guys are at a pediatric cancer benefit right now. What month is the month for pediatric cancer awareness? And the crowd would be quiet, right? And I said, there's my point,
Yeah.
And then I would say, what color is associated with pediatric cancer? And you'd hear black because brain tumors are black. And then you would hear other colors, and I'd say it's gold, and it was just such a profound piece for people to be a part of and be like, oh my God, here I am at a pediatric cancer benefit. And like, I don't even know these things. And it's not their fault for not knowing them. We need to do a better job of promoting ourselves and promoting our cause, a lot like breast cancer did for theirs.
Right. So you had said that there has been some improvement with, I guess, the diagnosis and the length of time.
Yeah, so in 2013, when Brooke was diagnosed, the median survival rate was roughly 8 months survival for a child to be diagnosed with DIPG. And we're seeing survival rates closer to 2 years now. And that is a direct result of research that we funded and is going on in trials right now. When Brooke was first diagnosed in 2013, there was only phase 1 trials. There were 13 of them. At the time, I could have told you every one of them inside and out. And now there's over 60 different trials going on. And again, that's a direct result of research we funded as how they went from translational research into trial.
And this is in the
some
US?
of these trials are going, I'm sorry?
Is this in the United States or?
Oh yeah, this is the United States, yes.
Okay.
Yep. In the United States. And, that's a direct result of research that we funded. And we're seeing, now we're seeing phase 2 trials, which is a big, big jump from where we were. And we also our collaborative group funds the database, the only database that there is in the world for DIPG. And it's the biggest database in the world, I should say that. Mm-hmm. And that database alone, since 2013 to now, Michelle Manji from Stanford University, who's a renowned researcher in the field of DIPG, said at our last symposium in Sydney, Australia, that we now know, because of this database, the database that you guys created, you guys funded, we now know the makeup of this tumor. So we understand the tumor, we understand the components of the tumor because of this database, because of post-mortem tissue samples, because of MR scans from all the patients you gathered and all that stuff. She goes, now the next step is we need to find out how to attack it and stop it. And that's a big step, obviously, but that second step can't be made until that first step was there. And that's a direct result of the research that we funded.
That's incredible. Have you seen your fundraising efforts grow? I mean, I'm sure COVID did not help it. Maybe.
Yeah, we took a bit. Well, our casino night is our biggest fundraiser, which is in March, and our golf outing is our second biggest fundraiser, which is in September, Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month. And we actually had the March event literally about 6 days before the world shut down due to COVID. So we were fortunate to have our most successful event ever 6 days before COVID shut down, which enabled us to kind of navigate through that next year and a half, because the following March we were not able to have that event. So we missed out on the event. We had all that momentum and steam going into that event right before COVID, and then literally came to an abrupt halt. And then the following year couldn't have it and couldn't, take off from where we were. Mm-hmm. So this coming March is going to be the next casino night that we have. And it'll be interesting if we can take off where we left off or even improve it to where it was. The golf outing last year, we did about 70% of what we typically do. And this year's golf outing, which is set to go off September 20th in a couple of weeks, is on target to be 150% of what it ever has been in the past.
Oh, great.
So, yes. So I think we have things on track. I think, COVID has allowed peoples and corporations and companies to really put things in perspective and realize what things really matter. And luckily we have a really, really, really strong following and a strong base of supporters that, they never let us down. They're there for us every step of the way and doing big things for us.
That's great. And let's hope that with this awareness, it just keeps growing, right?
Yeah.
Now,
that's the idea. Sure.
Can I change the topic a little bit to changing it federally with legislature and maybe getting more national funding? Where are we with that? Do you have any response?
Well, anything political right now is a significant challenge for obvious reasons. The parties are so divided, or more divided than I think people have believed them to ever be in the history of our government. Mm-hmm. So bipartisan legislation is difficult for obvious reasons, where if one party's backing it, the other party's not, and You call it bipartisan. It is bipartisan. It's about our children, this country's children. And there's just such a divide right now where it's difficult. That being said, there is a few bills out there that, we're trying to get passed and we're working on that can make a difference and, change the amount of funding that we're allotted. But, along with that goes, so the way it works is, you get a congressman to write a bill, you get a bunch of congressmen to co-sponsor the bill. If you can get, 2/3 of the congressmen to sponsor the bill, it automatically has to be brought before the floor for legislation. If not, the Energy and Commerce Commission can pick it up and present it if they feel it's, got some legs and it's viable. But then even if the bill gets passed, for instance, like we're looking to increase the amount of money that goes to pediatric cancer, that has to go to the Appropriations Committee, and the Appropriations Committee could literally say, well, yeah, we agree you need more funds, but where's it coming from? In order to give you more funds, we got to take funds from somebody else. And that's, super frustrating to me because I see in the last year and a half, there have been crazy bills written for COVID, some of which don't even include full COVID components, and $80 billion was found all of a sudden when we had this emergency. Well, how is pediatric cancer in our children's lives not the same emergency? And you found the money there, but you're not finding the money for us. So it's frustrating and it's an uphill battle. And, we do need government support and government help. And I'm just going to say this for all ailments, not just pediatric cancer. There's ALS, there's, pediatric cancer, there's women's breast cancer, there's all sorts of things. If we just concentrated each year on one ailment and put the resources forth that we did for COVID, or even a fraction of the resources we put forth for COVID, we would start to cure these things and make humankind better. We really would. And I just think that, on a government level, the thoughts aren't directed in that way, the way they should be, where we could be making monumental differences for, humankind for all times to come.
Right.
So the legislation is difficult. It's tough. And in this current climate, it's really tough, but we're still plugging away and chipping away and seeing what we can do.